Hello, everybody, and welcome into this week's 30 Minutes program. Paul Tinkle with you today. And we're going to be talking with one of the most well-known men that I think knows in two states for sure. That's Popeye Jones. Popeye, first off, happy birthday. This is your week of birthday, turning 54, which is awfully hard for me to believe.
Thanks for having me, Paul. But first of all, not 54. I think I'm 35.
I don't think you feel 35. I don't think that's happening.
That is so true. But no, thanks for having and thanks for the birthday wishes. Had a great weekend. Obviously, Father's Day and birthday falling together, so I get double presents during the weekend and then yesterday.
So what did you do on Father's Day?
Well, right now I'm obviously in Denver. We're getting ready for the draft and doing some things, and so just kind of went to church, hung out with the family, went to brunch, and just had a good time. You know, nothing too crazy. Went to the pool in the afternoon and relaxed at the swimming pool.
You know, Popeye, for as long as I've known you, I don't know that we've ever talked about the Lord. Tell me about your faith. You're somebody that I know who grew up with the correct morals here in Dresden, and I know that's been very important to you.
Yes. Obviously, I grew up in Fuller Street Baptist Church right there in Dresden, going to Sunday school, and that's where I learned about the Lord, the Bible there. You know, I had some wonderful teachers in Sunday school, a wonderful preacher in Reverend Connor who passed not too long ago. But, and then the home bringing from my mother, we believed in God in our house, and we put God first, and we put him in control of everything that we wanted to do. And I still pray daily, and as you know, I'm still raising kids. I have a 4-year-old, and he goes to a Christian school right now with this, Christian base that teaches about the Lord, and he leads us in prayer every meal we have at home. So says his prayers at bed. So at 4 years old, he's learning, going down the same path that I did as a kid, and learning about the Lord and putting him first in his life.
How hard is it to be a Christian, knowing that you have to work on Sunday?
It's always been a struggle, but I think that where they do a good job, and I used to, as a player, it's a lot harder as a coach to do it. But before games, they always have a quick Bible study, and it was a lot easier to get to those Bible studies, whether it was at our home arena or on the road as a player. But, as a coach, it's a lot harder to get to those.
What are some of the responsibilities that you have with the Denver Nuggets?
Right now, obviously it's grooming young players, teaching them how to play the game the right way. I guess, I do a lot of stuff on the defensive side of the ball, which I've always loved, the defensive side of the ball. So I do a lot of stuff on that side of the ball, which is I enjoy doing, and just being a coach, and then just the overall well-being of our team. People, I think, Paul, young kids now, if they feel good, they're doing their jobs a lot better than when they don't feel good. That's the society we live in now.
When you say you're going to work, what do you do at a time like this when we are getting closer to the draft?
Well, we have draft workouts. We have guys in. You can have 6 players in at a time. So we'll have 6 guys in today. Before that, we have our young guys who didn't play a lot during the season. They're in working out early in the morning, so you get there and you get to see them work out and work with them a little bit. And then, I'm an old guy now, so I get to sit on the sideline. I used to conduct draft workouts, but now I sit on the sideline and let the young guys kind of conduct draft workouts, and I look at the players. And to be honest with you, Paul, I don't have a lot of say-so in who we're choosing in the draft because I don't get to see these college kids during the season. I only get to see them when they come in because I'm so busy watching NBA basketball during the season. I only usually watch college basketball around tournament time. So, we have to, as a coaching staff, we have to lean on our front office to watch these college kids all year play, kind of make that tough decision of who we're going to draft.
Can you share with me what it felt like last year getting that ring on your finger with the Denver Nuggets getting the national championship?
Oh, man, I tell you, to win an NBA championship is obviously a lifelong dream. You grow up watching different teams celebrate. As a kid, I grew up, you're watching the Philadelphia 76ers celebrate. You're watching the Lakers celebrate. You're watching the Boston Celtics celebrate. So as a kid, those are the main 3 teams that I remember celebrating in the locker room. And then to have that chance to be a part of that was really something special, and to have your family there to celebrate with you was also special. I think that, as you know, Paul, the journey is hard, the job is tough, but when you win a world championship, it's very rewarding. And I can understand how when guys win one, they want multiple ones. I kind of felt the same. You know, obviously we didn't get it done this year. It's tough to win back-to-back championships. It hasn't been done since, you know, Golden State did it. But I think that we're still on the right track. We still have a really good team, and we'll be back next year. And, you know, since we're talking about it, congratulations to the Boston Celtics. They were the best team all year long. And, you know, what a heck of a playoff performance they have going through the playoffs, 18-3, only losing 3 games is quite a performance.
Athletes are now getting paid at the college level, and in many cases, it looks like high school is going to get paid too.
Yeah, you know, Paul, I am following. You know, being married, having a wife who once worked when we lived in Indiana, and I worked for the Pacers, who worked at the NCAA headquarters there. And, you know, it's kind of, we used to talk about it way back in the day that this was coming. And one thing I remember that she always said was, everybody wants this, but they just better be careful of what they're going to do to college athletics. And I think that that's what we're seeing right now. And don't get me wrong, I understand that, you know, we don't want people to do free labor, and we want guys to get paid for the work that they're doing. But I think that right now the salaries are out of control. I don't know how to control it. I don't know how to slow it down. Be honest with you, Paul. I'm glad I'm not in that situation, because some of the numbers that you're seeing come out from what these college kids are getting is incredible. The amount of money that they're getting paid.
When you were at Murray State playing college basketball a few years ago, were there things that went on such as, you know, here, take this and go out and have a hamburger or a steak, or, you know, hey, here's some lunch money, or for that fact, you know, here's $100, go out and put it in your car or something or other. Was a lot of that going on?
No, not as much. You know, every now and then if I was in a restaurant or something, I will say now that, you know, somebody may say, hey, you know, we got, you know, you and your teammates bill, you know, but, or I remember we got, it's so funny because, you know, as college kids, you're going to take anything you can get for free. And so we knew a guy who was the manager of KFC, which I probably didn't need it, but when KFC would close, they would bring all the leftovers to the basketball dorm. We'd all fight over the food. So, you know, you had things of that nature, but not the way things are now. And honestly, I think that the NIL, again, I understand that players need to be paid for their services, but I think it's hurting small schools like Murray State. I think that, you know, if you have for example, I can take myself for example. If I went to Murray State on a scholarship as a freshman, as you remember I did, and then I had the breakout sophomore year where, you know, I lost the weight, got in shape, and, you know, became Conference Player of the Year. With the way college athletics is now with the NIL deals, I probably would have left Murray State because the money that I would have been offered would have been too big to turn down.
You know, that's a tough call right there for a lot of students. If you've just tuned in, Popeye Jones is with us. He is in Denver, Colorado. We're here at the studio, and he's getting ready to go to work today. If you're listening to this program on Saturday or Sunday, they're getting ready for the drafts. So you have the draft pick of 28 and 56. Is that right?
Yeah, and to be honest, man, it's hard, Paul. I'll be honest with you. I think probably that's why I coach. I think coaching is a lot easier, but when you talk to people that do the front office work, they said that their job is a lot easier. But I think coaching is a lot easier. It's trying to, because basically, as you know, take Joker for example. We both got drafted 41 in the NBA draft, and you know, Paul, 41. When you drafted in the second round, nothing's guaranteed. 41 picks usually doesn't make it, and look at what he's done. He's the best 41st pick that's ever been chosen, and, you know, 3 MVPs. And for myself to be chosen 41 and to play 11 years, it's tough. The crapshoot, as you know, a top 5 kid, he does get 3 years guaranteed, but after that, he may not make it. A guy who's drafted in the top 5 and then a guy in the second round may have a 10-year career. It's a tough job, and I think, I commend, our front office. They do a heck of a job of scouting all these kids and compiling a database to see, trying to figure out which one that can help our team.
That's I want to come back to Joker right now before I go anywhere else. What kind of young man is he?
If I had to describe him in one word, Paul, people ask me, as a superstar, it's got to be selfless. To me, he is the most selfless superstar that I've ever been around. And, you said that, and great family man, easy to coach, easy to get along with. I think I've said this in the past about him, that if I did, as you know, I don't have any daughters, but if I did have a daughter, if she brought Nikola Jokic home and said, this is who I'm marrying, then I would be a happy man.
What makes him such the player, Jokic we're talking about, that he is? Where did he come from? I mean, all of a sudden, here's a guy that we know he's a kind of good guy, big guy, but we haven't seen anybody like him in a long time.
No, we haven't. And I think that for him, probably the smartest player that I've ever seen. He's the best passing center probably to ever play. And before that, I would have said I had to throw it out there. I would have said that probably was Bill Walton. Rest in peace to him, who just passed away. But I think Joker has passed him as the best passing center to ever play in the NBA. And then again, it goes back to the person that he is. He plays that way. And I'm talking about passing. He's selfless. We know that these kids now, they want to score. But he wants to play the game the right way. If I need to score, yes, I'll score. But if I'm being double teamed or two guys are coming at me, I'm gonna make the right play with the ball. Now I tell young kids that they need to watch him, because that's what I think that our game is getting away from, because all these kids think they got to score 50 points a night.
There are about four maybe that stand out to me that are still alive. Here's LeBron, Magic, Shaq, Michael. These are four major names that everybody knows. I think when you're talking about those players, what happens when you retire, much like yourself, and you don't have a basketball job waiting for you, but you've got a lot of money? What's next in your life for a college basketball, a NBA basketball player who finally calls it quit?
Well, I think first of all, you got to figure out, as you're getting older in this sport, you got to kind of figure out what you want to do, because as you know, Paul, you're still a young man. When we say retire, but I say I can't play anymore, or I couldn't play anymore. I was 34 years old when I couldn't play anymore, if you want to say retire. But I think you have to plan before that. And I did a good job of myself, because I knew I wanted to coach at the highest level, of taking advantage of different programs that our Players Association had for us set up in the summer, going to coaching clinics, talking to different coaches, working the Vegas Summer League when I wasn't an NBA coach, when I was an older player. But I think that you see that. I think that, you call some other names, the Magic Johnsons, the Shaq. They decided they wanted to go the business route. So, as you know, they were able to open a lot of doors, a lot of avenues, and talk to different people, and to put their hand in a lot of different business situations, and Michael as well. And you see that, they've done a really good job in business. And that's kind of like some people say, that's what I want to do. I want to go into the business world. That's how I stay competitive. For me, I wanted to go into coaching. That's how I felt that I can stay competitive and I could stay as close to the game as playing as I could, because I was approached about working in the front office, which we talked about, but I just felt that I wasn't close enough to the game if I worked in the front office.
Do you want to be a head coach in the NBA?
I think everybody strives to, Paul, but obviously I'm 35 now, and if it happens, it happens. But I don't lose sleep over it. I've had a heck of a run as a player, as a coach. As you know, it's almost been 30 years now doing this, and at some point, I will have to retire and enjoy life and get away from the late nights and the early mornings, because I think we both know those are really not healthy for an older person. But I know guys do it, and there's a lot of people in this business that are lifers, but I don't think I want to be a lifer.
Ronald Jerome Jones, our guest today. If you never heard his full name for the first time, Popeye. Well, I just had to get it out there. Popeye Jones is with us. Yeah, and here's the thing about you, Popeye. When you came in on the night of the afternoon, evening, when we dedicated the Dresden High School gymnasium floor in honor of the late Coach Chuck West, I heard what I felt like you could be, and certainly have been, a speaker, but I think you could be a very influential motivational speaker.
Well, I appreciate that. I think that you said motivational. I just kind of look at my life, and obviously you and a lot of people around there, you guys know where I've come from, Dresden, Tennessee, small town country boy. But I think the biggest thing for me in life, I just feel if you really want something, you really, really work hard at it, and you dream about it, and hopefully you can make that dream come true. And I think I look at my life, I've worked really, really hard for everything that I have, that I've wanted, and I, even when somebody knocks you down, it happens to all of us in life. I pick myself up, brush myself off, and try to keep moving forward. A lot of times I think that maybe the only downfall of always trying to move forward, that you never have time to sit down and reminisce and think about things of the past. And that night, like you said, when we dedicated the floor to Coach West and being back at Dresden High School in the gym, those are one of those nights where I get to like reflect back on. I remember, practicing and playing games there, and Coach West screaming at us, and and all that stuff. All those memories come back when you put yourself back in that situation. But a lot of times you're moving so fast, you're working hard, and you're trying to figure out the best thing for you to continue to get forward to do the things that you want to do in life, and all the goals that you have.
I didn't see it. I don't know if you did it. I left as you were very much being sucked up by a lot of your friends who were there, and you wanted to be sucked up by them, and you at a time where you got to go back and talk about those memories. You got to go back and have that relationship with those family people that helped to raise you. But here's my question: when was the last time? And I know you have had to do it. When's the last time you snuck into the gymnasium when you came home and went to the high school gymnasium and put up a ball into the basket? Do you recall the last time you put a ball in the basket?
Wow, I would say that's a great question. It's probably been a while. It's probably been 6 to 8 years ago. It's funny because I went out to one of Jonathan West, one of his girls' practices in the summer, and was doing some stuff on the court with his girls' team. And that's probably the last time. And I haven't been back since I saw you. But we didn't shoot any baskets that night. But, we got to sit in the gymnasium, though, and dedicated to, still to me, all through my journeys and everything, all the NBA teams playing in Europe or whatever, but to dedicate the floor to the best coach that I ever had growing up was a special night.
Of course, we're talking about the late Chuck West. You stay in contact with a lot of the people here in Dresden. I pick up the phone or send you a text. You get right back to me. Nothing's changed with you. And I admire that about you. I really mean this. The Lord knows how much I mean this. But, Popeye, you have always been Popeye. Now, I know you have a little bit of an edge sometimes when the game's not like you want it to be. But you're still always the same person, and you haven't let money, fame, or maybe the other things outside of Weakley County that you still have such an appreciation for.
Well, again, I think that thank you, first of all, for saying that. But obviously, we talked about it earlier. It's the home raising, from mothers and brother, and it's Fuller Street Baptist Church, which we talked about earlier, where I learned about the Lord. It's all the people at Dresden, like you said, who supported me, who's always rooted me on. And I can name, we wouldn't have time, it's so many, I can't name them all, but they know who they are. And I'm so appreciative of not only all the people, but, again, you as well, and where I've come from.
Do you still pay attention to your physique? I mean, the older we get, and you know what I'm going at, you don't want to you don't want to look like an old man, But sometimes you have to stay on top of your diet. Do you find yourself being challenged by all of the things that are out there that you could eat?
Absolutely, especially in this coaching business, living in this world, and you're always hungry after games at like 11 o'clock. It's so hard during the season. So it's funny you asked that question, because last year after the championship, I looked at a picture, me holding the trophy with my wife, and I was like, ooh, nah, this is not good. After a long season and a lot of film study and late night eating, and I was able, last summer to drop 40 pounds. And this season, I try to just maintain that. And now I'm working on even losing more because, like you just said, Paul, as we get older, it's a lot harder. And I've always had the problem. Obviously, I know I've always had a weight problem. Hey, I went to Murray State and I was 315, and I was able to drop 65, 70 pounds and to get in shape. But I know that I love that good food, the good Southern food, but I have a great wife, and she does a good job of cooking healthy and keeping me away from it.
You have a lot of people that are in your circle. Do many people from here get out to watch you play a ball game or coach in a ball game, be a part of going to a ball game with the Denver Nuggets?
Sometimes, yeah. I guess obviously good friends that come out. It's always good to see them and to entertain them. One of my best friends, you probably know, he's probably out more than anybody. You probably remember Ben Laurent.
Sure.
That Ben, his son is over at Air Force Academy, which is about 30, 45 minutes down the road. So he gets out here probably more than anybody because he has a son at Air Force Academy, which obviously very proud of him that he was able to get in Air Force Academy and he's playing lacrosse there.
I want to bring back to your attention here for a moment because 2 or 3 reasons. Number one, you're Murray State's all-time leader in rebounds, 1,374. I don't know if you even knew this in the number, but that's what it is. You've recorded over 2,000 points, over 1,000 rebounds. I don't know how anybody that has those kinds of numbers that can think of a ball game, Murray State playing somebody, I don't know what it is, where you just felt like you had the best game of your life. Maybe it was an OVC championship. I don't know. You've had a lot of that too.
That's a great question because I tell my kids, obviously with 2 kids in the NHL, I always tell them, I say, you're always chasing the perfect game. You'll never achieve it, but if you always chase it, then you'll be fine in sports. And funny, I can't say that I can maybe pinpoint one game where I say it was the ultimate game, but if I had to, it was probably when nobody knew Popeye Jones and he was a sophomore at Murray State. And even though we lost, and I still see Steve Smith, who does a lot of NBA TV stuff, media stuff, that, back then we were the first 16th seed to take a 1 to overtime, Murray State against Michigan State in Knoxville, Tennessee. And, I still think we should have won that game today, but we didn't. Steve Smith, a heck of a player, was able to put Michigan State over the top. He was Big Ten Player of the Year that year. But we still, when we see each other, we laugh about that game. And, and Popeye Jones was able to score 37 points in that game and grab 11 rebounds and kind of put my name on NCAA basketball's map of players.
It would be wrong if I didn't ask you this. Caitlin Clark, tell me about your thoughts about Clark and also what's been going on in the WNBA that has gotten a little bit testy, so to speak, with some bumps and bruises.
Yeah. It's funny. I've followed her, obviously, even with her years in Iowa, because my wife, she played basketball as well at the University of Iowa, obviously before Caitlin Clark, but she's a Iowa alum. And I think that Caitlin Clark is a generational talent. I think if you look at what she's done for women's basketball, I think it's more of the three-point shot. And I think the first men to shoot deep threes, and you look at it, it's Steph Curry. It was Dame Lillard. And then now you see these other players starting to shoot these three-point shots from like the timeline or right over half court. Those shots are exciting for players or for fans because they're like, how can they make shots from that deep at such a consistent level? So I think that the hype for her was because of her ability to really shoot the ball from deep and to shoot the deep three. For the WNBA, I think coming in as a rookie, I know you get all this stuff about, well, they're jealous, it's racist. No, I think that these girls in the WNBA, just like any rookie, when I came in, they're going to try you. And it's all sports, not just basketball. They're going to try you and see where you're at because they know who you are. If you look back, and I just mentioned that a guy like Steph Curry in his younger years at Golden State was getting knocked around and beat up and bruised. And what did he decide to do? If you talk to him, he decided to go to the weight room and really even though his frame looks still small, but Steph Curry is really strong and and he plays a physical game now as a little guy. And I think that, Caitlin Clark, the great ones, they figure that out, and she's going to figure that out too, and she's going to be fine.
Let me follow that up with this. Do you think that there is ever a time when women and men will play NBA basketball against one another?
I think that's a good question. Obviously I don't know, but I think that there's a lot of the appeal right now because of Caitlin Clark of women's basketball. It's really blowing up, and I think that right now I think they're going to try to just grow their league, and I think that that's what needs to happen. They were able to finally get chartered flights. I'm an old school player. I remember as a freshman or as a rookie when I was in Dallas, and we still flew commercial. And people don't understand that's really tough when you're playing basketball on back-to-back nights and 3 games in 4 nights, and you're having to go through the airport and fly a commercial flight. But now the WNBA, which is good for them, they're starting to get chartered flights like us, and I think they're just going to continue to grow that game first. And hopefully they'll get a better TV deal than what they have because their ratings are out the roof, and then they'll start being able to pay women more money. And I think that as you look, that league is going to be very prosperous in years to come.
I'll give you the last word. You got young'uns and little old ones a little bit at the same time, but how are your boys doing? They're still got the hockey puck out?
Yeah, they took a break off. It was, Chicago is still in a rebuild, and Seth is there. But, hopefully they're looking to not, you can't say it publicly, but tank, which they've been doing the last 2 or 3 years. They got the top pick last year, and they got a high draft pick this year. Caleb is kind of like a hockey journeyman, kind of like, basketball. It was good. He got traded to Colorado this past year, so it was good to have him in town. He just got engaged to his fiance, which is good for him. Going to get probably the first one married next summer. And then the 4-year-old who he's talking about hockey players, I think that I got maybe my first basketball player at. He'll be 5 August 28th, but he's already making it on a 10-foot hoop with a regulation ball at 4.5 years old.
It sounds like the legacy will continue, my friend.
Well, we'll see, but he's got a long way to go. He's headed to camp this morning, so we were up getting him off to camp. Like I said, he goes to a school called Cherry Hills Christian, and they got camp this week.
Really good talking with you. We haven't done this in a long time. We have one thing in common, and I'm going to go ahead and say it because it's kind of special to you and to me and to Lynn Dunn. And, we've got several other people that we could be naming right now. But being inducted into that first Weekly County Hall of Fame with you and Clifton and, as I mentioned, these others. But I tell you what. Yeah,
that was a special night, Paul. And, we had a really good time, a lot of good laughs. And, you named a couple of names, and also Mark Hardy. I got to throw his name in there because coming through sports, he was always there, whether he was playing baseball with us in the summer or I was playing against him when he was at Palmersville. Still a good friend. He lives out in Cleveland with his family. And then this year, I'm actually excited about this year because they're putting our baseball state championship team in the Hall of Fame, and I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of fun, a lot of old friends for that event in August as well this year.
Well, I'm hoping you can make this trip here to Weekly County. I know it's important. Those guys, when they name the baseball field after a fellow that you like really, really well, what a special honor for your coach.
Yes, very special, and we've been in group text, but I'll tell you right now on the radio, nothing happens right now. I'm planning on being there and to celebrate that night with my old friends and teammates and coach.
Well, great talking with you. It's a pleasure to be able to know that things are well in the Jones family in Denver, and we wish you the very best and blessings for your health and also for your family.
Well, thank you, Paul. Thanks again for having me. Always great to catch up with you and the people in Weekly County. And but again, you know me, always a Dresden Lion at heart, so go Lions.
That's our program for today. Popeye Jones on the radio with us here. What a great, great time to visit with this man who continues to love God, love his family, and love what he does. And that's the coach at the Denver Nuggets.
You've been listening to 30 Minutes, a community affairs program on Thunderbolt Radio. You can listen to this broadcast and others anytime by visiting thunderboltradio.com and following the Thunderbolt Radio and Digital YouTube page. Thanks for listening.